Crazies. Yes, y'all are in the lab. Lee here. Y'all saw that title too as well. We are talking about 8 new Mandela Effects to blow your mind, make you question this reality we reside in. Yes, 8 new more Mandela Effects to get your mind boggling once again. Before we get this going, y'all remember, please remember that some of these Mandela Effects might not be new to you, but they will be new to somebody else. Also, remember to sub up to the backup channel in case YouTube always wants to try to get me. If they get me, if they do get us again, sub up to the backup channel so you will not miss anything from this magnificent community. And I'm talking about y'all. Also, with that said, y'all remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave me your comments down below so we can talk about these Mandela Effects and others too as well. Excuse me. Now, without further ado, let's get this going. Let's start this countdown off with some new bones in the skull. Yes, that is right, new bones in your skull, and I'm gonna ask you, the audience, a question. Is there bones behind your eyes? Now think about it, think about it, think about it. Is there bones behind your eyes? Is there a bone behind your eyes? Now if you're saying, no, Lee, how can there be bone behind your eye if your eye is connected to your brain, right? And that's the question I ask myself too. Yeah, you know, it's wired. We're wired. We got to go through it to see it's our world. That's our universe. Well, you're wrong. You're wrong just like I am. You're wrong just like you are. You're wrong for everybody who just said there is no bones behind the eyes. There's always been bones behind the eyes. Bones behind the eyes. Yes, you can do your eyelids, converse, all this other stuff, but I'm talking about what you're seeing right there. A bone literally behind the eyes. Yes, that is right. And you also see this little hole where, you know, your wires are connected to the brain, to the computer system of this matrix we call reality itself. But yes, yeah, there is bone behind your eye. There always has been, always will be, and probably, you know, if it goes out, we might not have eyes eventually. Who knows what I'm just saying. But how do you remember the human skull and the rest of your body? Because you know the body is changing. Do you always remember it the way I and many others remember it, with no bones behind your eyes? Or do you remember it like the way it is in this current reality of the metaverse? Bones behind your eye. Green light, red light, and you're right. We are talking about traffic lights itself, traffic lights, and in this world, in this reality, and maybe yours too as well. I go talk for the older generation and this stuff. And how do you remember the traffic sign, the street lights? I said, the red, yellow, and green lights. How do you remember it? How do you remember those lights? Do you remember the red always being on top, or do you remember the green being on top? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Now, if you have said, Lee, it's red on top. It's red on top. You're correct. It's red on top. It's never been green on top. Well, you're right. Yes, it is red on top in this universe, in this metaverse. It is red on top. But in my reality, back in my day, man, a lot of us too, we remember the traffic light being green on top. That is right. Green on top, red on the bottom. As I remember it being that way growing up as a kid. Even when I started driving, I remember that. And it's crazy because I think about this in my flashback of my mind that just hit my head. I remember sitting at a light probably when I was like 16, 17 years old, and remember seeing the green on the bottom, and it made me feel like I just ran a red light. It was weird. I was like, that light was red. It wasn't green. But now that I think about it, it blows my mind, because not just myself, many of us remember the green being on top, not on the bottom. Yeah, you heard me right. The green on top, not on the bottom. But how do you remember the traffic light in your reality? Do you always remember the traffic light being red the way it is now? Because I mean, it is now. But do you remember the green on top being green, yellow, and red? Let me know down below. That is right. I am Clark Kent. I am Superman. And I am talking about his logo. Yes, his logo, his logo, his logo. We all know his logo has changed throughout the years. It's changed in this Mandela Effects too as well. It is, this phenomenon has just not changed it drastically over and over the time, but it has changed the logos through the years back in the days all the way too. Now, in my reality, I don't know. In this reality, I want to say this is what the logo looks like now. Now, I'm looking at this S, and I know it still stands for hope, and I'm looking at it, and I remember the top, how it starts, how that S, how you start at S, little block, and it goes down and it goes around. And I remember in my day that there wasn't that little circle, a little kind of dot at the end, just a fill-in block. In my reality, I remember that being more squared out, like almost the top, but just kind of squared out going into it, because it's the river that flows, and it blows my mind. And I'm looking through all these freaking Superman logos and everything else, and I don't see the one I fully remember. If I could draw, I'd draw it for you, but it was the S with this little line, kind of like I go down, and even at the bottom of the S, it still had kind of like the rectangle squarish. It was squared out, but it wasn't rounded out like the way it is. And now you kind of see the most of them now too. It blows my mind away. I'm not the only one that believes this and thinks this too as well. It has been changing. This Mandela effect keeps on giving to the ones it always keeps taking and changing. But how do you remember Superman? Do you remember his logo the way you've been seeing it, the way it is now in the entire universe and always has been? Or do you remember it like I do, and many of us do, with the S, the bottom of the S being more squared out, not that little circle, not the way you see it there?
With all natural botanicals and organic herbs and pure mountain water, it will leave your hair looking beautiful.
Yes!
That is right. We are talking about that great, wonderful, orgasmic shampoo body wash. This one actually comes from one of the viewers. Thank you very much. And we're talking about, yes, Herbal Essence. Yes, Herbal Essence. The wonderful, orgasmic power wash. Brush your hair. It smelled really good, too. You always knew a girl that washed her hair with Herbal Essence, and you just melted away. Little meltness to my heart there. Thank you, ladies. But we are talking about the way it is spelt now today, the way it was, the way it's pronounced. Now, take a look at this. Does that look right to you? Herbal Essence? Yes, you heard me say it. Herbal Essence with the extra S on the end. Do you see it? Do you see it there? Or do you see it like this? Herbal Essence with no S, if it's correct. Which one do you remember? Which one do you feel is right? Well, if you're saying the one with the S on it, you're correct. You're actually correct. That is the way it has always been in this universe. Somehow, some way, it has always been Herbal Essences. Herbal Essences. It sounds so weird putting that S on the end of it now to me, because in my reality and many others, it was Herbal Essence. Herbal Essence, not Herbal Essences or Herbal Essence. I can't even speak it. It's got me messed. It's got me tongue-tied there for a minute. And I thought I was going crazy on this, so I was doing my research through Google like always. And you can see Herbal Essence. You don't see the extra S on one of the displays. And that one's for like French or Spanish. I don't think it's French. And then you see another one. You see the bottle that says Herbal Essence without the S. But it has never been without the S. It has always been with the S, Herbal Essence. And it blows my mind. But how do you remember this, gentlemen? But how do you remember this, ladies, yourselves? Because I know you like to wash your bodies with that good smell, good, freshy, colors, orgasmic stuff. How do you remember? Do you always remember with the S on the end, or do you remember like we all do? Most of us do, just being without the S, Herbal Essence.
Finally it's morning, stretching, I'm yawning. PB&C is what I'm thinking of, and it only can be.
Oh, one of my favorite snacks in the world. If I am having a bad day, a down day, I don't feel good, it is just not going on, and somebody gave me a Reese's Pieces, just Butterfinger cup, I will just be the happiest person on earth. But we're not talking about the peanut butter cup itself. We're talking about the cereal, the Reese's Puffs. That is what we're talking about. And we're talking about the spelling of that, or how do you pronounce that too as well. You know, here we go again with another S on the list. Now, how do you remember Reese's Puff? Do you always remember it being Reese's Puffs? Just the way you see it right there. Or are you like me? And many of us remember it just being Reese's Puffs. Reese's Puffs. You know, that's how I remember it. That's the pronunciation of Reese's Puffs, right? Reese's Puffs. And it blows my mind because it's never been Reese's Puffs or Reese Puffs. It's been Reese's. Reese's with the S, just an apostrophe S. Here we go again. The good old Mandela effect likes to blow it all the way up. But if you think I'm losing my mind, I did find some evidence on this. I also found a TikTok live video of it where it was pretty cool as hell, of it being Reese Puffs. Yes, without the S. Without the S. You see this dude looking at Google, looking at the shop, and it said Reese's with the S, and then he looks up and he goes to the wall that has all these cereals on it. And I don't know if you can notice, I'm slowing down. It looks like Mr. You're great. Goddamn, Tony the Tiger's got a black nose, but yet you see Reese without the S. You can also find a picture, I found one or two pictures on the internet of Reese Puffs. But how do you remember it? Do you remember Reese's always having that S on the back of it being Reese's? Or do you remember, like I do, many of us do, apparently you just saw Reese Puff.
Baby, you deserve it. Treat yourself. Baby, you been...
This one is true to my heart just because I have so many memories, because it's with my mom. My mom was a cosmetologist. She was a beautician. She cut hair for a living. She taught me how to cut my own hair. And this is one of those monumental beauty spots that you get your supplies from. And it's Sally's Beauty Supply. Yes, for all you beauticians, cosmetologists out there, anybody who's ever had to do any kind of hair that way, you know who Sally's Beauty Salon is, the establishment is. I remember it just growing up because my mom is dear to my heart. Now, has it always been Sally's with the apostrophe S in it? Once again, here we go. Apostrophe S, Sally's Beauty Supply. It has, right? Sally's Beauty Supply. That's how I said it. That's how I remember it in my world, in my reality. Growing up, going to the store with my mom, getting that. Sally's Beauty Supply, right? Well, wrong. Our reality is shot, is blown, because it never was Sally's Beauty Supply. Never had the apostrophe S on it. Sally's is Sally Beauty Supply. It is Sally Beauty Supply. What are you telling me? You're telling me that me growing up, going to this store with my mother, God, for at least 20 years of my life, and you're telling me that it's never been Sally's Beauty Supply, it's just Sally Beauty Supplies? Blows my mind away, hurts my heart, my brain, my memory, because it's never been Sally Beauty Supply. It's always been Sally's. But how do you remember this wonderful beauty supply chain, Sally's itself? Do you remember it Sally's Beauty Chain? Or do you remember it always being Sally's Beauty Chain? Oh, I had to do one because my cat is actually sitting right here in the window. She's been here all day. She's got to that window. And I'm talking about the piano cat. Yes, the piano cat, not the chopsticks guy, but the piano cat, the one that got scared. He got his leg stuck, and he was playing that piano. He's going crazy. He's scared. And this has to do with, well, here, watch the video. Now, does something look out of place in that video? Does something look solely just wrong in that video? Kind of obstructing your vision of the whole show that this cat is presenting? Now, if you're saying, yeah, Lee, what the hell is that box doing there? You're right. The Christmas ornaments. The Christmas ornaments. Where did that Christmas ornament came from? Where did it come from? Because it was never there before. And that's the Mandela effect. Many of us remember the piano cat, watching that cat go crazy. And you could see the whole piano. You could see every key he was hitting on, everything you get on. And there was nothing in front of it. But now there is this big Christmas box. And maybe that has to do with the Mandela effect, the Christmas stuff, maybe the Christmas story, maybe, the Christmas songs, just seeing Christmas itself. Maybe it has to do something for that, but what do you remember? Because I don't remember that box being there ever in my eternity of this. Well, now it is, but never. It was never there in my reality, never was there in my reality, but here we don't live in the reality we used to live in. So that just blows my mind. But what do you remember of this video, this cat? Because this cat went viral, and it was just one of those memorable moments in internet viral video history. Do you remember the box being there of the Christmas ornaments? Or are you like me and millions of us don't remember that being there at all? Oh yes, one of the great punk eras of the time. Started off the good grunge band, punk band, grungish in itself. And we are talking about Kurt Cobain. Yes, Kurt Cobain, not Nirvana itself, but Kurt Cobain and this infamous pink fuzzy sweater. Yes. As you see this wonderful picture of Kurt Cobain, the late and great, God bless rest his soul, that good old pink fuzzy sweater. Now, my reality, and many of ours realities, because that part of that time in history as we grew up, become our adolescents, kind of get this rebellion in us. We remember Kurt Cobain, and we remember this fuzzy pink jacket or sweater, whatever you call it. But it never existed. It never existed in our reality at any time. He never ever wore that sweater at all. It was never worn. It blows my mind because you can look it up, Kurt Cobain's pink fuzzy sweater, and it's on sale. You see it, and it's crazy. And maybe that's because everybody's jumped on the wagon and stuff like that, but I remember him wearing that thing. I remember that being an iconic little thing, just because I believe that even Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did a spin-off with this fuzzy sweater with the blue one, as I'm showing here right there for you. And it blows my mind, but it never existed. He wore this jacket, this little robe that you see right here. That's the one he wore. That's the one that everybody apparently misconstrued and misremembered. How can you get that to a pink sweater? It blows my mind. That's two different things, two different ways. But oh man, how do you remember Kurt Cobain in the pink sweater? Did he always have this pink fuzzy sweater in your reality, or are we all going crazy in our reality because he never wore it? There you go. 8 new more Mandela effects to just blow your mind, rock your reality, make you think going into this weekend, that's for sure. If you like this at any time, y'all, please remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, leave those comments down below so we can talk about these and others you would like to talk about with that too as well. Oh man, y'all don't forget to sub up to the backup channel, because you know we got to keep it moving regardless whatever happens in this morph. We just want good vibes and great times. Also remember, y'all, keep your mind open, because those eyes will see every single change, wonderful blessing, and love in front of you. That's for sure. Y'all have a great one. Love y'all to death. I'm out, and y'all stay crazy.
I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.